Welcome back, boys and girls. Today we are going to be doing a transmission. So this is the 5-speed transmission for Project Shipbox. This is, if you can tell by the code on that sticker, this is an EP3, i.e. 01 to 05 Civic Si transmission. So it's a close ratio 5-speed. What we're going to be doing is taking it apart, replacing the guts with an with a K-Series Accord 5-speed or 5-speed gear set, as well as swapping out the diff with a Wave Track limited slip. So this was a junkyard find. I got it for like $250, which is a smoking deal. And these are really not bad transmissions in their own right. But for a turbo car, I want a little bit taller gears. I don't actually know if these are. I don't know the condition of the gears on the inside. The case looks okay, although the inside of the bell housing does look like there was something flopping around in there. When I took it apart, or when I took it off of the yard, there wasn't clear evidence of what it was, but provided that the innards are okay, it should be fine to use. So my expectation is that this will be a kind of a two-part affair, and for those of you who haven't done the teardown on one of these, this might provide some insight. I've done this a couple of times, and I'm getting kind of used to it, and I know the tricks, the ins and outs, if you will. So let's get started. First, I'm going to take off this clutch slave cylinder so that I can set the whole transmission on its sort of nose. That was our throwout bearing. We're going to need to replace that anyways. Whoop. Shit. This thing is not empty. Okay, kids, I decided we're just gonna go for it. Hopefully there's not that much more in there. I just figure it's where I'm at already. It's kind of a pain to try and drain it out properly. So we got these mats. Let's just see and hope there isn't that much more left in there. I don't know. It does slide around easier though. The table's got lube on it. Alright, back down to it. So these 3 screws, they have ball retainers on them that keep you in gear. So we're going to take those 3 out. We're going to take off this shifting mechanism. We're going to take out this nut that holds on our reverse, or this, I guess it's a nut screw that holds our reverse shaft in place, and then we're going to take off this fastener that holds the bearing, retains the bearing at the end of the counter shaft. And I'll give you a closer look once we're in there. Alright, so you want to be mindful. So there's a spring in there, you don't want to lose it, and then there's a ball in there, you don't want to lose that. Sometimes it helps to use a little pick teamed with a magnet to help coax that guy out of there. As you can see, there it is. There's one. There's the second screw. As you'll see on the inside, there's 3 sort of shift forks, and each one of these ball retainers, I'll call it a retainer. Right, each one of those balls resides or moves in detents on the, I'm going to call them fork shafts. I don't know what their proper name is, but they're little shafts with a fork on the end of them. So we got our 3 balls. Oh, now I remember. There's this guy which serves as a retainer for the shifter mechanism, and I can see some RTV, so somebody has been in here previously. And then this guy which holds our reverse shaft in place, which I believe is a 14 millimeter. it is. Somebody really over torqued that guy. Jesus. That was over torqued. Somebody tightened that too damn much. Why did you do that? I don't know, but I don't like it. There's a little bit of wear on there. Nothing that's really scaring me. I like to put sort of my special fasteners together in one place so I know that I can keep them segregated for the rest of the fasteners that are going to come off of this thing. I like to put these back in their home. Anything that doesn't have to be removed, just put them there so I know where to come back and get them later. These guys, they should all be, whoops, those are 12s. So let's just go around. Okay, we got all those. Now we get that guy. Should be able to pry it apart now. So while this does look like this RTV has been messed with, the rest of the case doesn't. This side doesn't really have anything to pry it against, so what I like to do is use something like a socket. Yeah, that is ooh, you know what? I got that apart, but I didn't remove these guys. So you can see there's this spring retainer, spring clip, if you will, and oh, maybe I can show you. So here, this spring retainer is hooked around this groove in the outer race of this bearing, so we need to spread this so that bearing, so we can lift the case and the bearing can drop. That's our intention anyway. I don't think that's what's keeping us from separating the case though. The ones I've done in the past, this case will start to separate before you really need to get that apart. There we go. Okay, kids, we got them. Just was really wrestling with it. Should be pretty easy to come apart, I think. There we go. Okay. So let's look at what we got. Here's our magnet. It is a bit worse than I'd like to see. It's not totally freaking me out, but it's worse than I'd like to see. Fifth looks good. The sort of synchros and splines are what I look at first, or really the main thing I'm worried about. Usually these transmissions, the meshes themselves are generally not going to be a problem. Let's take you down to look at what I'm looking at. What I'm concerned about are these areas here. So this guy, right, helps guide as your collar slides over, and if I can get this one to go. Well, I can't. And engage. Well, you can see it on the bottom, right? So this collar slides up and down to select third or fourth. So first and second are down here. Third, fourth, fifth. So what I'm concerned about are these splines here, these teeth, right? And so when this collar slides down, you can see it's guided by this gold guy on the other side, mind you, into this spline, which is fixed to this gear, right, which drives the countershaft. gear, which in turn drives the final drive gear. So usually we see 5th, 4th are usually not too bad, and it makes sense why they wouldn't be too bad because you're usually not slamming into them all that often. Whereas like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, you are. In-town driving, that kind of thing, you're getting in there more frequently. So let me try and give you some better lighting there. Yeah, that's better. Come on. Come on, man. Yeah, see, that doesn't, it is a little bit of wear, but that's not freaking me out. On 3rd, 4th, 5th, looks good. Now into where it's not so beautiful. If we look here 2nd, see how these little nubs, I'm not sure how well you can actually see that, but these guys, they look different from this. So these guys are a little bit more worn. I'm not totally losing my mind over it, but it's, yeah, it's not beautiful. And then if we pull this collar up and look at first, right, this gold part, right, it's worn down a lot more than 2nd or 4th or 5th. Is that terrible? Is that something that needs to be addressed right now? My opinion, I'm not going to pinch myself. My opinion is no. That is debatable, but I think these look fine. But again, I'm not actually going to use this gear set. I'm going to use the Accord one, but it's kind of just a good exercise to sort of look at the condition of your stuff. So these are perfectly good usable. This is a perfectly good usable gear set, and it is identical to the RSX base. However, the final drive is a bit lower, so that basically sets all your ratios closer to each other. So all this gear set is the same as the RSX base, which is good. We like that. It's just this, presumably this ring gear or the pinion or both are different. So I'm going to set about taking this apart. In the next video, I will take the diff apart, take the ring gear off the diff, set the new ring gear on, or excuse me, set the new diff on that ring gear. And also what we have to do is, because we're using an RSX and not an Accord or TSX or an 06 to 11 Civic or any of the other K series that use a countershaft speed sensor, this uses a whatever, the kind of speed sensor that goes on the rear diff. I got to take off the speed ring. It's just basically a helical ring gear. Got to take that off of this diff and put it on the new diff. So we'll cover that in the next video, but basically this is the long and short of how to get this fucker apart. Mistakes were made, obviously. I didn't verify that I had actually drained this thing by the time I tipped it over, but we got it sorted out. We got a decent gear set in here for a rainy day, basically. And that's all I got until the next video. So thanks for watching. Catch you next time.